Welcome to Mind Awakening TV, where we explore thought-provoking insights, expand your mind, and challenge the way you see the world. If you're ready to open your mind and unlock new perspectives, you're in the right place. Let's dive in and awaken the power within. Mindfulness Meditation for Anxiety. In a small town nestled between rolling hills and a shimmering lake, there lived a boy named Leo. He was a curious child, always exploring the world around him, but lately, an invisible weight had settled on his shoulders. The laughter of his friends felt distant, the vibrant colors of the world seemed muted, and the joy he once found in simple things was overshadowed by an unshakable anxiety. The whispers of worry curled around him like tendrils of smoke, and no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't seem to shake them off. One particularly overwhelming afternoon, while sitting under the sprawling branches of an ancient oak tree, Leo felt the familiar tightening in his chest. The worries swarmed in his mind like bees in a hive, buzzing incessantly, each thought a stinger that pricked at his peace. He closed his eyes, hoping to block out the noise, but the chaos only grew louder. In that moment of desperation, he remembered something his grandmother had once told him. Whenever life feels too heavy, find your bubble of peace. Intrigued by the idea, Leo decided to give it a try. He took a deep breath, allowing the cool air to fill his lungs, and slowly exhaled, imagining the weight of his worries drifting away with his breath. He envisioned a warm, glowing bubble surrounding him, a protective shield that kept negativity at bay. It was a safe space, one where he could retreat whenever the world became too daunting. With each breath, he refined this bubble in his mind. He pictured its shimmering surface, reflecting the sunlight like a prism, casting rainbows around him. Inside this bubble, everything felt lighter. The colors were brighter, the sounds were softer, and the worries that plagued him began to fade into the background. He imagined himself floating within this sphere, untouchable and free, as if he were a feather carried by a gentle breeze. As he practiced, Leo discovered that he could manipulate his bubble with intention. When a particularly anxious thought crept in, he would visualize it bouncing harmlessly off the surface of his bubble, unable to penetrate his sanctuary. He learned to fill this space with things that brought him joy: the laughter of his friends, the warmth of the sun on his skin, the sweet scent of blooming flowers. Each memory added another layer to his bubble, reinforcing its strength and beauty. Days turned into weeks, and Leo began to notice a shift within himself. The anxiety that once felt like a heavy cloak draped over him now seemed more manageable. Whenever he felt overwhelmed, he would retreat into his bubble of peace, allowing himself to breathe, to be still, and to simply exist without the weight of the world pressing down on him. It became a ritual, a cherished moment of solitude, where he could recalibrate his thoughts and emotions. One day, while sitting in his bubble under the oak tree, Leo spotted a group of children playing nearby. Their laughter rang out like music, and for a moment, he felt a pang of longing to join them. But the familiar anxiety crept back in, whispering doubts into his mind. What if they didn't want him to play? What if he embarrassed himself? He felt the bubble begin to waver, the edges flickering like a candle flame in the wind. Remembering the strength he had cultivated, Leo took a deep breath and focused on his bubble. He imagined it expanding, enveloping not just himself, but also the children around him. In his mind, he invited them into his sanctuary, where laughter flowed freely and worries melted away. With each breath, he filled the space with warmth and acceptance, visualizing their smiles and the joy of shared play. Slowly, the tightness in his chest began to ease. Gathering his courage, Leo stepped out of his bubble and walked toward the group. He could feel the warmth of his sanctuary still surrounding him, a comforting presence as he approached. The children noticed him and paused their game, their eyes bright with curiosity. "Want to play with us?" one of them called out, and Leo felt a surge of relief wash over him. The bubble had not only protected him, it had also given him the strength to reach out and connect. As they played, laughter filled the air, and Leo realized that he could carry his bubble of peace with him, even outside its shimmering confines. With each moment spent in the company of his friends, he felt the worries dissipate, replaced by the joy of connection and the warmth of camaraderie. The world around him was still chaotic at times, but he had learned to navigate it with a newfound sense of resilience. Over time, Leo became a beacon for others, sharing the concept of the bubble of peace with his friends. They began to create their own bubbles, each unique and vibrant, filled with their individual joys and memories. Together, they found solace in their shared experiences, supporting one another as they learned to protect their peace in a world that often felt overwhelming. As Leo grew older, the worries of life continued to ebb and flow, but he always returned to his bubble of peace. It became a part of him, a reminder that no matter the chaos outside, he had the power to create a sanctuary within. He understood that peace was not something to be found in the world around him, but rather cultivated in the depths of his mind. Years later, as he stood on the cusp of adulthood, Leo reflected on his journey. The boy who once felt trapped by anxiety had transformed into a young man who embraced the ebbs and flows of life. He carried with him the lesson that he could always return to his bubble, that within the stillness of his mind lay the key to his peace. And as he looked out at the horizon, he smiled, knowing that no matter what challenges lay ahead, he had the tools to navigate them with grace and resilience. Thank you for watching this episode of Mind Awakening TV. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an awakening moment. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and let's continue the conversation. Stay curious and keep expanding your mind.